And here we are. Here's some French words that we covered recently in English 2, 10th grade. And so, as you can see here on your screen, up here to your left, we have a picture of the French flag. Over here, we have the Eiffel Tower, and off to the right here on the screen, we have a picture of France. So we're going to be looking at some French words that 10th graders need to know. So what are those words that 10th graders need to know? Well, let's take a look at them. And of course, when we think about France, we do think about Pepe Le Pew. There he is. He of course, if you remember that story, he thinks that this poor cat that has a white splotch of paint down his tail is actually a female skunk, and of course it's not. But anyway, that's when you think about France. I guess that's what a lot of we Americans think. But anyway, when we think about France, here's some of the words that that come from have French origins. So let's begin with this one, bon voyage. That, of course, is something you hear quite often related to travel on the water. And some of the things that I've got along with this, as you'll notice, there we have the skipper from the SS Minnow. And, of course, bon voyage means have a pleasant trip. It's kind of ironic, of course, that we use this image of the skipper, considering that they did not have a very pleasant voyage at all. But anyway, the point is, bon voyage means have a pleasant trip. All right, let's go to our next word, French word, and that would be RSVP. Répondez, s'il vous plaît. And here's a sample of what many people get. Usually it's in, such as, many people get a wedding invitation, and that's what we have here on the screen for you. And that's what that refers to. That's exactly what it means. You should respond to an invitation. It is basically all that means. Okay, let's move on and look at another French word. And I know those two images on the screen are not exactly the most pleasant, especially the one there on the right with that gentleman digging for gold in his nose. But that is a definite faux pas. And a faux pas, as you'll notice here on the screen, is a slip or blunder in etiquette, manners, or conduct. It's an embarrassing social blunder or indiscretion. So definitely the gentleman on the right there, he is committing a faux pas. And the little boy there on the left, he is not using proper table manners. Got his knife and his fork in his hands, demanding food. He's got his napkin up there in his collar and not in his lap. So both of those young men are committing what is called a faux pas. So that is, again, another French word that we need to keep in mind because it will come up later on the test. Okay, well, let's move on to some of our other French words. And now, at this particular point, as you'll notice here on the screen, we want to play a clip from The Matrix. It's a short clip, and they mention the word that we're going to look at next. So we'll do that right now.
Deja vu.
What did you just say?
Nothing, just had a little deja vu.
What did you see? What happened?
A black cat went past us, and then another that looked just like it.
How much like it? Was it the same cat?
Might have been, I'm not sure.
Switch, APOC.
What is it?
A deja vu is usually a glitch in the Matrix. It happens when they change something.
Okay, and the word, of course, is deja vu. It's a feeling that one has heard, has seen, or heard something before. And, of course, in that clip that we just saw, the main character, he sees that black cat walk across the screen, and then all of a sudden he sees the black cat walk across the screen again. And so he says that was like deja vu. And so again, a French word we need to know. Anytime you hear the word déjà vu, it's a feeling that one has seen or heard something before. All right, well, let's move on to our next French word, and it would be de jour. Usually used when we're talking about soup, or many times when we're talking about soup. And here we have, literally it means of the day, or it can mean, soup de jour is soup of the day. And so we have over here on the right of your screen there, the so-called soup Nazi from the Seinfeld show. But anyway, de jour means of the day. And many times we Americans, we hear it referring to soup. Soup du jour, of the day. All right, let's move on to our next foreign word. And that would be a femme fatale. Now, femme fatale, literally, as it says here on the screen, means a disastrous woman. So, in the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit, there above, we have Jessica Rabbit, who was obviously a femme fatale. Over here, in a very recent movie, we have the Tourist, where Angelina Jolie is, again, a femme fatale, a disastrous woman. Who draws in this character, Johnny Depp's character, into a dangerous situation. Of course, at the end, there is a twist. I have seen the movie. If you haven't seen it, you have to see what that little strange twist is. But anyway, femme fatale, literally a disastrous woman. All right, let's move on to our next word, which would be Esprit de Corps. Now, Esprit de Corps, as you'll notice, is simply a common spirit of enthusiasm and devotion to the group. Many times, as you'll notice here on the screen, it can be used, as you'll notice here, to refer to athletic events, a team spirit, and Esprit de Corps is related to a sports team. Over here on the right, as you'll notice, many times it's used to refer to the military. People who have esprit de corps, they are very enthusiastic and they're devoted to that particular group. Okay, well, let's move on. That's esprit de corps. Let's move on to our next word, which is avant-garde. And avant-garde, as you'll notice, it develops new experimental concepts, especially in the arts. So that's what avant-garde refers to, new experimental concepts, something strange. As you'll notice on the screen, here's some very interesting, some people may say strange, obviously new and experimental concepts both in art and fashion. So if something is not your usual, typical, run-of-the-mill sort of thing, people will say that, well, that is certainly avant-garde. All right, well, let's move on to our next word, and that would be joie de vivre. That's the proper way to pronounce it is joie de vivre, and that simply means literally the joy of life. So here on the left of the screen, here's a dancer who is really enjoying her dancing and getting into it, experiencing the joy of life. Here on the right, a lot of people there smiling and having a good time and just experiencing, as it says here at the top of the screen, the joy of life. All right, well, let's see here. Joy of life, joie de vivre. And let's see here. Let's move on to another French word, which is carte blanche. Some people can pronounce it carte blanche, and that's fine too, but carte blanche refers to, literally, it simply means a blank document, meaning complete authority. The reason I put Steve Jobs is Steve Jobs, when he went back to Apple, as the CEO, he was given complete authority. And over here on the right, we have a picture of Scar. Scar, when he took over, when, as you remember, he murdered Simba. And after he did that, he had, for a period of time, he had complete authority. All right. And, I said he murdered Simba. Actually, he murdered Mufasa, which was the brother. And Simba came back, took over the kingdom from Scar. But for a while, Scar did have carte blanche, which is, again, complete authority. All right, let's see here. Let's move on. And here's another word of French origin, c'est la vie, which simply means that's life. I put on here Another way to say that is that's the way the cookie crumbles. So if something happens and we have maybe no control over it or don't know what to do about it, it's something that we can't control, we simply say, c'est la vie. That's life. You just have to deal with whatever has come your way. Okay, now the next thing, as you'll notice on your screen, is savoir faire. Here is an example of someone. I try to pick someone. He was a former actor who portrayed James Bond, and I know there's a new one now. But someone like Pierce Brosnan, who savoir faire is someone who it literally means knowing what to do. Here is someone who, especially in film, always has the right thing to say, always knows what to do, always in command, always knows exactly what he should say or what he should do. And so it is said, and it's usually applied to a man, and the terminology is, oh yeah, well he definitely has a certain savoir faire about him. He always knows what to do, always comfortable in most situations. All right, so that is savoir faire. Okay, and we'll look at our last French word, and that is enfant terrible, which means, as you'll notice, literally, enfant terrible is a terrifying child. It's a child or an adult known for outrageous remarks and behavior. So, here on the left side of the screen over here, this is where Tom Cruise was being interviewed by Oprah, and he's jumping up and down on the couch, acting like a complete idiot, or an enfant terrible. Now, over here on the right, of course, is Britney Spears, who's known for her outrageous behavior. One time shaved her head, doing all kinds of strange and weird things. Both of them good examples of enfant terrible. All right, well, that's all we have. That is some of the French words that 10th graders in English 2 should know for the test. So we'll turn this off for now and talk to you later.